Hello, amazing entrepreneur. It's Tash Corbin here, and welcome to another episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. This is episode number 256, which means you can find all the relevant links and show notes for today's episode over at tashcorbin.com/256. Now, you're going to want to note that down because I'm also going to let you know how you can get one of my most amazing courses to help you combine both mindset and marketing strategy for 80% off. So if that is something that you would like to look into, then make sure you stay tuned to today's episode and note down tashcorbin.com/256. Now, this offer is time limited. So if you are listening to this and it's more than 3 weeks after the podcast has gone live, so if it's after the 20th of February, then unfortunately this offer will be closed, but you can still access the course at the regular price. Now, what are we talking about today? We're going to talk about the 4 mindset blocks that are slowing down the growth of your business. So if you feel like there's an invisible force that might be stopping you from getting the results that you feel like you should be achieving with the level of activity and attention that you're giving your business, then this is going to be a really juicy episode for you. So let's dive in and start talking about those 4 pesky mindset blocks. I'm Tash Corbin, and this is the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. They say that one of the most powerful personal development journeys that you can go on is starting your own business. And I must say that when I first started my business, I thought I was completely open to making millions of dollars, and there were no reasons why I would stop myself from being successful. However, I know now that this statement that it is a huge personal development journey is totally true. Think about it. When you go into having your own business and working for yourself, you are the person that you have to answer to. You are in charge of how productive you are. No one is keeping you accountable other than yourself. You are required to make all the decisions. You don't have someone to fall back on. And that's why, one, I think it's really powerful to have both a strategy mentor and some mindset support when you first start your business, especially. But it's also important for us to understand and recognize that mindset and strategy go together hand in hand when it comes to growing your business and getting those results. So in today's episode, I want to talk about the 4 key mindset blocks that I see come up consistently related to having your own business. So there are unlimited mindset blocks out there, but I see these 4 come up the most consistently. So before I dive into the details of each of those mindset blocks, what is a mindset block? So a mindset block is anything where you aren't necessarily behaving the way that you want to or getting the results that you want to, and it can show up in a number of different ways. So it might be that you know what to do, but you just don't do it. There's something in the mindset or the energy around not feeling safe to do it, or there's something coming up for you. And it's those things where you say to yourself, I'm going to get up and go for a walk every day, and you know that's going to be so good for you, but you still don't do it. Or you know that if you take your vitamins every day, you're going to feel so much healthier and so much better. And you've got your little strategies on how to make sure that you remind yourself, but you start ignoring them and you just don't do it. And in business, this shows up as well. So you know what to do in your business. You know you should be consistent with your content. You know you should get a podcast out every week, Tash, right? But for some reason, you're just not doing it. Or it might show up that you do the action, but you don't finish the action, right? You don't do it completely. If you were to actually finish it off, you know that it would get you really good results, but there's just something inside you that is stopping you from finishing it off. Another way that it might show up is that you do the action, but it doesn't work. And you think I've done the thing. I was expecting it to get me this level of result, and yet it still isn't showing up. So you've done the action, but the action doesn't net the results that you think that it will. Another type of mindset block would be something where, you struggle to start something. You've been saying for 6 years you're going to write a book, but you still haven't written a word down. Or you say you've been trying to be consistent with something, you really struggle to stay consistent. ultimately, what a mindset block is where it feels like you are battling yourself in some way. It feels like either you're not doing things that you should be doing, or you're doing them, but you're somehow holding yourself back from the results, or you're not finishing, or you stop, start, and you're not consistent. So it really feels like there's this battle that's going on internally, and that is what's stopping you from getting results. That is what's stopping you from achieving your goals. So the 4 categories of mindset block that I see come up most consistently for women in business are: number 1, visibility blocks; number 2, action blocks; number 3, results blocks; and number 4, money blocks. So these 4 blocks are the ones that I would see come up most consistently. And they're the ones that we can really link directly to our business results as well. So they're often the easiest to identify and recognize those behaviors in. And they're the ones that you can practice clearing the most effectively. So number 1, visibility blocks. This shows up as not wanting to be seen. So you might, you want to post something, but you also deep down don't want to post something, right? You want to go viral, but you also don't want to go viral. So it might be conscious or subconscious. You might, at the surface level, be like, yeah, I want to be seen, I want to be famous. But at the subconscious level, there's something in that that's like, no, I don't. This is going to be like when I was in grade 3 and I got the role in the play and then I tripped up and embarrassed myself, right? There's usually an experience or something that's happened before that has told you it's not safe to experience that. And visibility is a big one. So not wanting to be seen, full stop. But this can also show up as not wanting to be seen trying something. This definitely happened for me. So when I first started my business, I just wanted to start posting on social media and have a successful business. And I didn't want anyone to see me try something and not have it not work, especially like ex-partners or my ex-boss or ex-workmates. I didn't want people to see me try something and have it like not work. I just wanted it to look effortless. And I see this a lot with people who work in the health and well-being space. They don't want people to see their struggle. They don't want people to see them trying. They want to make it look like everything comes really easily to them. And this, again, can be conscious or subconscious. It might be that you don't want to be seen by certain people. So you're totally happy for most people to see you, but you don't want your mum to see you, or you don't want your cousin to see you, or you don't want that best friend that you kind of had as a friend of me in high school to see you. So you want to be seen, but you're trying to put like limits on certain people seeing you, and that can show up as a visibility block. So you end up really limiting your visibility, limiting the reach that you get, or limiting your consistency in showing up to be seen because of this conscious or subconscious resistance. It might be that you don't want to be seen failing. Fear of public failure and embarrassment is what's holding you back. On the other end of the spectrum, you could also just be that you don't want people to see you succeeding. And I know this definitely came up for me when my Facebook community really started to thrive. We got lots of members coming in and my business was starting to take off. I didn't want other people to feel uncomfortable with how successful I was. I didn't want people to see how much money I was making because I thought it would make them feel bad. Now, this wasn't at the surface level, right? At the surface level, I was like, well, people seeing my success, it will inspire them and they'll want to jump in and be part of the community, and a rising tide lifts all ships and all of those sorts of things. But underneath that surface, there was a little bit of a fear that people might see my success and talk about me behind my back, or they might see my success and feel yucky because they're not as successful as I am. And I didn't want people to see that. I didn't want my family to see me succeeding sometimes because I didn't know if that would mean that I would have to pay for dinner all the time. Little things, it's these weird things that pop up for you, but you don't actually necessarily think them at a conscious level consistently. It's just that there's a sign or a hint that maybe there's some visibility blocks there because you're resisting the action of getting visible, or you do the things to get visible, but the results don't come. It's almost like you're posting on social media and you're doing everything right, but you feel like you're wearing this invisibility cloak and you don't know why. So visibility blocks are a big one, and I see that come up for a lot of women, especially in business. The second type of block is the action block. And this can show up as perfectionism. So I'm not going to launch that course yet because it's not perfect. It's not quite ready yet. I'm not going to launch my podcast because it's not quite ready yet. I'm not going to release that new freebie because it's not quite ready yet. And actually, this is a sign of an action block. We know 20% of your effort gets you 80% of your results. And it's allowed to be near enough is good enough for you to get out there and start making money from it. The amazing Denise Duffield-Thomas talks about a 7 money blocks audio that she had on her website. She didn't really like it, but she put it up there. She knew it needed to be re-recorded. And for a long time, she was like, oh, I must re-record it. I must re-record it. And she was this close to just taking it down because it wasn't perfect. It wasn't quite ready. But she just kept it up there anyway. And over the course of 2 years, that completely imperfect free recording made her $400,000 in sales. Because even though she didn't think it was good enough and she didn't think it was quite ready yet, people who were finding it found it really helpful. And yeah, maybe the sound wasn't as good as it could be. And maybe, it had, something in there that she wanted to clarify or say differently, or she wanted to have a better upsell on it. But it still did a good job. It still made her money. I love that story so much because there are so many people who are holding on to things that could grow their reach, grow their mailing list, or grow their income. And they aren't sharing it with the world because they feel like it's not quite ready yet. So that's definitely an action block, that releasing it to the world. That's the action that you need to be taking. And if you are holding on to things and not feeling like they need to be perfect or feeling like they're not quite ready yet, that can be a sign of an action block. Number 2 in action blocks is needing more qualifications. And I see this one all the time. People come to me a lot when they're thinking about joining the takeoff program. They're like, but I think I'm going to do a coaching qualification. Or they'll say, I'm already a level 4, blah, 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 but I think I'll do level 5 before I join the takeoff program. It's like, you don't need more qualifications. People don't care what level you are in most cases. They just want to know if you can help them or not. And I'm really grateful for the mentors over the years in my business who have told me, don't go get that qualification yet. Just try showing up and serving people. And if you decide you want the qualification later, you can do it later, but you don't need it in order to be successful. We're putting something in between us and the action that we know is going to be our most powerful action. And a qualification is a really tricksy one because in most cases, most people are overqualified, but in some cases you do need to get a qualification. I'm not saying like no qualification is valuable, but if you keep finding things you need to be qualified in before you're allowed to be successful, before you're allowed to start your business, before you're allowed to start helping people, then it can absolutely be an action block because you're putting a block in between you and the powerful action that you know is your next most powerful step. Action blocks is another example of the I know what to do, but I don't do it. And where you are facing that procrastination and that resistance to taking action. Action blocks can show up as staying busy, but not doing the important things. So action blocks, can often show up for people who feel like they're doing a lot. I know for myself, if I'm not really specific about what my powerful actions are for the day, I can still keep myself busy for the day. But that can be an action block because it's putting a barrier between me and the important action, me and the powerful action. So anywhere that you are creating barriers between you and action, that's likely to be an action block showing up. So that's category number 2 of blocks is action blocks. Now, I would love, as I go through these, if any of these are resonating with you, feel free to tag me on Instagram. You can pop a little story up, take a screenshot of you listening or watching the podcast and share it on Instagram and tell me like, oh, I noticed most of my blocks are in action blocks, or those money blocks that you talked about, Tash, they're definitely showing up for me. I want to hear from you as to which blocks are showing up for you the most, because I'm going to be creating more podcast episodes on addressing the mindset blocks as well and how to address them from both a strategy and a mindset perspective. So please do either come over to the Heart-Centered Soul-Driven Entrepreneurs Facebook group. You use hashtag podcast Let me know you've been listening to episode number 256 and tell me about your blocks. Or if you want to share on Instagram or on your Facebook stories, just a little screenshot of you're listening to the podcast and just let me know What are the blocks that you are facing? So action blocks is category number 2. So we've got visibility blocks, action blocks, and then the third category is the results blocks. And this is where you're putting a block between you and actually reaping the rewards of your action. So this can show up as doing 95% of the thing and then not finishing it. I have a friend who has been writing a book for 4 years, and she just let me know the other day that actually the only thing she needs to do is write the introduction and the conclusion. And she has had the whole book, except for those 2 parts, written for the last 2 years. And it's just like the last 5%, right? So the intro and the conclusion. That's it. That's all she has to do. It's probably 4 or 5 pages of writing left to do. And that's the bit she's stalling on. That's the results blocks, right? There's something about finishing it and getting the result, putting it out in the world or having people buy it, that is bringing up a block for her. So she's put a barrier between her and finishing and getting those results. It might also be where you do the work, but you don't get the results. And I see this happen a lot when people jump into Facebook groups or on social media, or they're doing a launch and they got their email marketing sequence and they are doing the work. They're, doing the things, but on an energetic and subconscious level, they don't want people to buy from them, or they don't want people to sign up, or they don't want people to read their book, right? And so that energy and that mindset means that it does impact on some of your behaviors very sneakily. And also energetically, you're not putting out this like, I want the results thing, right? You are putting it out, you're doing the thing, but it's almost like your energy is going, oh, please don't buy, please don't. And some of the things behind results blocks can be like subconscious fear that you're going to get too busy, or subconscious fear that you're not going to be able to deliver for people. And it's often not conscious. And I want to be clear with that, because you might listen to me talking about all these blocks and be like, I don't care about that. No, I definitely would finish. No, I want clients. But it's not necessarily at the conscious level. Results blocks can show up as well. Some clues can be where it works for others but not for you. So this happened in my last 5-day client attraction challenge. I told people about a SPEAR email, SPEAR. So that is short, personal, expect a response. And there's a certain structure to the way that you do the SPEAR email, and you send it out to your mailing list. And inside my takeoff program, there were people going, oh my gosh, sent SPEAR email, 10 leads. Oh my gosh, sent SPEAR email, 20 replies. Oh my gosh, sent SPEAR email, 2 sales. Oh, like it's working. And there were some people very quiet at first. And then a few questions popped up from people going, I did exactly the same thing. It worked for everyone else, but it doesn't work for me. Why is that? And this can be a results block. Now, of course, there are some strategy things that we can do. We can tidy up the words. We can grow your list more and make sure we're really nailing that engagement. But if you are still blocked from that result, it doesn't matter how much we finesse that email. It doesn't matter how many people you send that email to. If you've decided it works for others and not for you, that's the truth that you are going to experience. But also, if you've got these results blocks going on, then you're going to feel like it works for other people, but you just never get the same level of results as other people get. Another result block is where if you hadn't left it to the last minute, you would have done way better. So this might show up, for example, if you're applying for awards or applying for grants, or you have to submit a guest article, or you have to create a webinar, whatever it might be, and you've left it to the last minute so you know it's not your best work. That is definitely a results block. So you're finding ways to put a block between you and getting good results from it. And I've definitely had this happen a couple of times. I'm generally really good at doing things just in time and still giving myself enough space to get it to be my best work. But there have definitely been a couple of times where I can see actually I was feeling uncomfortable about sharing a platform with a certain person or being seen in a certain way. And so I left my presentation to the very last minute and I knew it wasn't my best work. So that was a great clue for me that I had some results blocks showing up. And then the other ones are where you do get the result. So you might have results blocks where you get the result. So you decide you want to bring in 5,000 this month and you bring in 5,000 this month, but then you sabotage it. So you bring in the money, but then you spend it on stuff you weren't planning on spending it on. Or I know a lot of people who they manifest extra $500 and then their car breaks down and the bill is $500. Or they get 1,000 people on their mailing list from this new big launch or this thing, and then the tech glitches somehow and they lose everyone's contact details. I know 3 people that's happened to. And so it's you got the result, but then you found a way to sabotage that result. And the other one is where you get the result, but you don't appreciate it. So you're I am going to feel so successful when I make 4 sales of this program. And then you get the 4 sales and you're oh, well, that's not enough. Oh, next, moving on. It can sometimes show up as not stopping and celebrating success as well. So you keep setting these goals for yourself, and whether you achieve them or not, you still feel the same kind of unfulfilled, not very excited result. And so that can definitely be a sign that there's results blocks going on. So visibility blocks, action blocks, results blocks, and the final one is money blocks. And I talk about money blocks, and they can show up as visibility blocks, action blocks, and results blocks. But I talk about them separately because I think the way you do money is the way you do everything. And our relationship with money needs a lot of healing, especially for women, especially for Black, Indigenous, and women of color, and especially where we've experienced challenges with money in the past as well. So money blocks are a block all unto themselves, and they show up and kind of overlap some of the other blocks as well. But some good signs that it's specifically a money related block are where you can manifest value and prizes, but not cash. Definitely a journey I've been through. So if I wanted to do a course, I could manifest winning that course for free. If I wanted to get some fancy new shoes or go on a special holiday, I have won holidays. I've won clothes that I lusted after. I can win free sessions with pretty much anyone. I'm so good at getting those free sessions. But there was a time where I could be bringing in $5,000-$6,000 worth of wins in a month, but really low cash. And so what came up for me was there was this fear of, if I have cash, I'll spend it wrong, or I'll waste it, or I'll get done for tax. So that can be a really big money block. And there are some very specific strategies that you can use to move from manifesting value to manifesting more money without being ungrateful for the value, because you don't want to shut down your winning streak. But there are times where you do want to manifest the money and actually pay for it yourself. I have a little conversation with the universe when I'm feeling that way. And I say, I'm really good at managing money now, and I'm ready to be responsible for that money. I want to experience that feeling of bringing in the money and then buying the thing rather than just winning it. And I do that through the lens of gratitude, not through the lens of, no, you never send me money, right? Because you don't want to shut down the manifesting of the things that you want. But there is a time where you do want to bring in that cash. So that can be a big money block. It might also show up where you resist asking for money, you resist collecting money. So you don't invoice people, or you invoice them late, or you invoice them but you don't follow up when it's not paid. You don't have systems to make sure that you are collecting money from people. Go and have a look at the last 30 posts on your Facebook page. How many of them actually ask for the sale? A lot of women in particular really struggle asking for the money. When you get to the money part of a sales conversation, you get a giant rash, or you avoid talking about it, or you skip over it, or your voice goes really high when you start talking about the money part. All of that is a sign that you've got a discomfort with money, and there's some money blocks there. It might be that you don't like discussing money, finances, or money goals. And again, particularly for women, this can be a learned and trained behavior. Oh, we don't talk about money. That's unseemly. We don't talk about our money goals. That's disgusting. Actually, men talk about their money all the time. It's just that we have been told that it's not our place. And so there's a lot of unlearning that we do need to do. And also it can be a sign that we're uncomfortable in the presence of money. We don't want to feel that way if we're trying to manifest money in our businesses and make those sales. You might also find you talk people out of buying from you. I've done this a lot in my first few months of business. I consistently talked people out of buying from me just by talking too much. Or it might be that you over deliver. So you don't feel like you are really worth your rates. And so when people buy from you, instead of working with them for an hour, you work with them for 4 hours. And what it's saying is there's an energetic mismatch here. So it might be over delivery. It might be your beliefs about rich people and the cost of being rich. So I'd rather be happy than rich. You can actually be both. I'd rather have a great relationship than be rich. You can actually have both. I'd rather be close to my kids than be rich. I don't want to spoil my kids, so I don't want to be rich. So those beliefs about what rich people are and the cost of being rich can definitely show up as big money blocks. Even the way we talk about money, like when you say filthy rich or cold hard cash, just notice your language about money. Sometimes it can be a real clue that there are money blocks there. And another big one can be struggling to increase your prices or never increasing your prices. Definitely signs that there are money blocks there. So, as I said, I would love to hear from you. Which of these blocks may have resonated? Which ones are you grappling with at the moment? Come on over to the Heart-Centered Soul-Driven Entrepreneurs Facebook community. Let me know which blocks are showing up for you and how we can continue the conversation over there. Just make sure you use #podcast and let me know that you've been listening to episode number 256 of this podcast. Also, don't forget to tag me on Instagram. We can start a conversation over there as well. And as promised, if you would like to go deep into releasing those blocks and also do it in a way where we're combining marketing strategy with mindset techniques, I have a fabulous opportunity for you. I have a program, I sell it on Udemy, and it's called the 30-Day Business Blast. This program is a 30-day program where each day we swap between a business strategy and a mindset technique to help you set and achieve a stretch goal in your business. Regardless of what your business type is or how long you've been in business, if you've got a big money goal and you want to achieve it in 30 days, even if you don't know what that goal specifically should be, there's a day on goal setting. I want you to come and check out the 30-Day Business Blast because this is a really in-depth program and it's normally only $100. It is such a bargain already, but until the 20th of February, it's actually 80% off if you use a coupon code. So if you come over to the show notes of today's episode at tashcorbin.com/256, there'll be a special link to the 30-Day Business Blast so you can get it for under $20. Under $20. So I want you to make sure you go and check that out. The 30-Day Business Blast has mindset strategies. So we go through these 4 different types of blocks and what to do about them, how to notice them, how to clear them. I've got different techniques and strategies that we use in the program from a mindset perspective. But I always believe that every mindset block has a strategy solution and a mindset solution. So you don't have to completely clear your money blocks in order to start making money in your business. That can be one of those perfectionist action blocks. So in this program, every day you have just a really short video to watch with a little seemingly easy little task to do. And what that does is builds up over 30 days to really help you improve your skills and strategies for marketing your business, as well as improve and practice different mindset techniques to start clearing out some of those mindset blocks. So it is already a basement bargain basement price at $100, but for the next couple of weeks, it is 80% off if you use that coupon code, and we'll have all the details over at tashcorbin.com/256. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Heart-Centered Business Podcast. I've been Tash Corbin. You've been an amazing listener. And until next time, I cannot wait to see you shine. Bye for now. Would you like more tips, tools, and resources to help you grow your heart-centered business? Head to tashcorbin.com today.